Crowd surf.
Lauren,
You're sitting here.
Do you want to see what you're about to miss out on, though?
You're gonna wreck chords.
Okay, read the title of this next one. Hold on. Get your reaction. Okay, that's good reaction. Go away now.
Wow, Lauren.
I have to miss out on that now? Why would you do that to me?
That's why I just said scoot down, you guys.
Okay, we're scooting down. I'm gonna hold this pee. So this is insane.
This next one is a long one, so hang in there. But it's crazy. Found out I've been dating my father for almost 4 months.
This is why I stayed, guys. What the fuck?
Throwaway
Wow.
because I can never have anyone know this happened to me. I still have no idea how to process it. Buckle up because this is a long one. So I've never met my dad. He ran off when my mom found out she was pregnant with me. My brother was only 8 months old at the time, so he also has no memory of him. There are no pictures of him anywhere, and my mom hates talking about him. All I know is that he was emotionally abusive to her and a real asshole. I, 25 male, have a thing for older men. Call it daddy issues or a fetish or whatever you want, but I pretty much only date or sleep with men 40 and up. My family doesn't know this or that I'm gay, for that matter. It wouldn't be an issue. They just never ask. We don't really share personal things like that. About 6 months ago, I met David at a club. We hit it off great. He's in great shape for his age, supposedly 43, although that's a lie. He's actually 47, as I found out. Really attractive, charming, etc. He left for a 2-week work trip a few days after we met, but we kept messaging each other and I really liked him, which is rare for me. We went on a date after he came back and I've pretty much been dating ever since. He has a lot of money and I'm kind of his sugar baby, but that's not the reason I was attracted to him. Definitely a plus though. I didn't tell anyone we were dating except for 2 of my best friends. He also never met any of my friends or family, and I never met his. This changed last night. We were at a restaurant when out of the corner of my eye, I spotted my mom. I don't live at home, and we only usually text if we need something, so I didn't know she'd be there, and to be honest, I still don't know why she was. She hates going out and thinks it's a waste of money. She had not seen us yet, but David noticed me looking at her. I'll never forget the way his face changed when he saw her. His expression went from his casual, charming smile he always had to this blank, panicked look. I obviously noticed and got a really bad feeling, so I asked him what's wrong, and he just got up and excused himself. I kept asking him where he was going and grabbed him so he couldn't just leave. At this point, I was really confused and suspicious, but I would have never guessed what would happen next. I don't think anything could have prepared me for it. At some point while he was getting up, my mother must have spotted us, because next thing I know, she's next to our table, asking me what was going on. I couldn't really pinpoint her facial expression because it looked like she was horrified, but again, at this point, I didn't know David was my father, and she doesn't know I'm gay. David is visibly uncomfortable and looks like he wants to die. He was literally sweating. I assumed this was because he didn't want my mother to know I was dating someone of his age. I was about to try to explain what was going on to my mom when she said, "Why would you go behind my back like this?" I was so confused because, again, I didn't know he was my dad. So, what was she going on about? She probably assumed I had looked for and met up with my father without talking to her about it, despite her acting crazy for no reason. I kind of took it personally and thought she was trying to tell me who to date and what to do, so I casually told her that I was just on a date with my boyfriend, and I tried to grab David's hand, but he just jumped up and ran away. He literally bolted like a fucking Olympic runner. I cannot get the fucking image out of my head of him jumping between waiters to get away. Everyone was staring at us by this point. It was so embarrassing and I was mortified. My mom looked like she was frozen in place. I was more confused than ever. I had no idea what was happening. I had assumed she had asked me that because she didn't want me to be gay, which made no sense. She is very open and liberal, or date older men, which made a bit more sense, but was still none of her business. But her expression just made my skin crawl. It's like I could feel the horror she must have been experiencing. She just told me to get up and come with her. I was still confused, but something in her body language told me to just do as I was told. I quickly paid for our drinks and appetizers. Thank God the main course hadn't been served yet, because damn was that shit expensive. My mom excused herself to her friends, and once we were in her car outside, we just sat there in silence for what felt like at least 10 minutes. I didn't really dare to say anything. I was still processing that my boyfriend just fucking ran away from me and my mother. I had also tried to text him, but he wasn't responding. Shocker, I know. When my mom spoke, it sounded like she had been shot. She sounded so wounded. I think it must haunt me forever. She asked me who that man was, and I explained to her, and I went on about how much I loved him because, again, I was still thinking of David as my boyfriend and assumed my mom's reaction was because of his age or gender. I can't believe that I went on about how much I romantically loved my dad right to my mother's face. It makes me want to puke. Long story short, she told me he was my father and that she instantly recognized him. That talk was the most traumatic experience of my life. We both started crying at some point and just wept for a while in the car. I was howling. It was fucking primal. I'm not usually emotional or prone to crying, so it was really shocking to me just how much pain a person can feel. Most of it was just a blur now, especially compared to how clearly I remember every moment of the evening up to this. We drove home. I slept in my old bedroom. We haven't talked about it since, but my brother is also staying at our place. He's a med student, never moved out, and he knows something's up. Tried talking to me about it, and I just broke down again. How do I ever tell anyone about this? The worst part is, I think despite all of this, I still love David, ? Just writing that makes me want to throw up. I cannot believe this is reality. Like, how fucked is all of this? Why did this happen to me? I don't even think I could tell my therapist about this. I tried messaging David, but I just don't know what to say. The last message I sent him literally just says, "Please call me. I love you." Sent right after he ran away. Like, how do I come back from this? How do I ever look at my mom in the eye again? I haven't left my room yet, and I'm in tears again writing this. I can't even remember the last time I cried before yesterday, and now I've been doing it nonstop. If anyone has any advice, as if, who the fuck else would have ever accidentally do this besides stupid me, it would be highly appreciated. Also, feel free to make dark jokes about this. It's my coping mechanism. I also did not proofread this. I also did not proofread this, as I don't think I can bring myself to read it again.
This reminds me of our other live show about, like, obviously you guys all know the woman who wrote in about finding out that she was dating her biological brother. As jarring as this was, it's like, it's no one's fault. There's been enough studies to know that it's not that crazy that psychologically we are attracted to, like, things that are very familiar to us, people, I should say, that are familiar to us. And so it's not like they did anything wrong. But of course, like, I feel so deep, like, so much sorrow, because, like, how do you, like, I said this before, how do you just go from being in love with someone to unlove them? Like,
you can't.
Because when they didn't do anything wrong, but when you just find out things that, like, you can't unsee and unknow, you know, it's just like, it is a really hard place. So I have so much sympathy for this story, and I can't imagine that, like, they're able to obviously continue a relationship, but, like, it's a mourning of, wow, I had such this, like, connection with somebody, and now I can't have this. And one thing I, like, do want to say, like, is that one of our friends that's friends with all of us back in from Minnesota, she said to me, she has 2 kids, and she said, if I were to find out somehow that they were not biologically mine, which is obviously impossible because I gave birth to them, they are, but she was like, if I were to find that out, I wouldn't care, because raising a child is literally the way that you have a child. She's like, it doesn't matter what the genes are. It's about raising them. And so I think that like because this whole situation, it's like nobody was being raised. Like it's different. Like if this was a dad that was like I raised this child and I fell in love with my dad, it's like it's fucked. It's really really sad and scary.
There is so much dynamics on so many levels here, and you guys all know that the first place I go is humor, and it's great that he said about all the dark humor because. Dude, I got an hour worth of it, but I'm going to put that back for a second and just look at the fact that here is a guy that was either bisexual at the time or where he was when he conceived with this woman. So her outlook is that this guy was an asshole because we don't even know that part of the story. And now we're hearing that this guy went on with his life. He met a young guy who was looking for daddy issues, and because he was hanging out with older men, he found his daddy.
Yeah. Literally, way to make daddy issues worse.
And you literally question me all the time. You're like, why don't you call me daddy anymore? That's why.
Okay.
Right there.
All right.
Adds up, Jerry says.
A little different. But
you ruined it for yourself just now. It's never coming back.
Okay.
That is true. That is true. That is a valid point.
All right. I got that one, but two totally different gigs. But at the end of the day, how does this person how do they cope with this whole thing going forward? Man, there's a lot of things to work out here.